Hello there, you guys. Welcome to one of my live videos. So, the current fixtures have been published for the new season. Manchester United on the first game go at home to Chelsea. That's going to be a difficult game, to start with for Manchester United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Second game, Wolves away. I think the third game is Crystal Palace at home, and I think the fourth game is Southampton away. So we have got a difficult start against Chelsea, of course. But now we'll give you some additional information about Antoine Greizeman, and of course there's also lots of other things to currently talk about. So according to recent reports, Manchester United are set to hijack Barcelona's move for Antoine Greizeman, and we are preparing to smash our transfer record by offering around £95 million for his services. So we do know that he made an admission that he's going to be leaving Atletico Madrid last month. It was looking very imminent. He was set to go to Barcelona, was Antoine Greizeman, but recent reports have suggested out that Barcelona have stalled on their move for Greizeman, and they've got second thoughts about Antoine Greizeman, because I think Barcelona are looking to get Neymar on the board and all that. So do you think Greizeman would come to Manchester United? Well, like I said, I wouldn't be keen on him coming to Manchester United now, to be quite honest, because he's not the fundamental player as he was a couple of years ago. He is 28 years of age, is Antoine Greizeman. Obviously, his release clause is £170 million at the moment, but this does reduce to around 104 or 105 million pounds at the beginning of next month, of course. So it has been looking very imminent. He's going to be going to Barcelona. He was looking very, very imminent. I still think he remains uncertain where his next destination is going to be, because obviously Atletico Madrid confirmed, that he's been a great servant to them. They've got a good relationship and all that, but they don't know where Greizeman is currently, going to be going. But obviously, Greizeman was on the verge of joining Manchester United a couple of years ago, but due to a transfer ban, his move to Manchester United, of course, never materialised. Obviously, Antoine Greizeman last summer signed a new contract with Atletico Madrid, so he's under contract with them until 2023, of course. And obviously, he has spent the entirety of his career in Spain. Obviously, for Atletico Madrid, he's been there 5 years. He's scored 133 goals in 257 appearances and all that. And obviously, he began his career with Real Sociedad, did Antoine Greizeman, but he's 28. He has still got quite a bit of development in him. So reportedly now, Manchester United have come up. We're set to hijack Barcelona's move for him by, we're willing to smash our transfer record by offering around £95 million, of course, for his services. And like I said, he's never played in the Premier League, so if he was to go to Barcelona, he would continue, applying his trade in Spain and all that. But I wouldn't be keen on us, spending just under £100 million on his services, when we could, I'd rather, spend that £100 million on the likes of Joe Felix from Benfica. Obviously, Joe Felix is about 9 or 10 years younger than Antoine Greizeman, as you all know, and obviously he's got a hell of a lot more development in him than Antoine Greizeman, so he is still on Manchester United's agenda, is Greizeman. Obviously, if Barcelona were to get the deal over the line, obviously it would be their third £100 million plus signing, 3 years, because obviously Barcelona in recent years have obviously got Coutinho for 142 million, obviously got Ousmane Dembele for over 100 million pounds. So I think Barcelona have got reservations about bringing Greizeman in. I think from Griezmann's perspective, deep down, I think he wants to make the move to Barcelona, because I think he has become increasingly frustrated, when Barcelona said they basically didn't want him there. But Manchester United now have come in right at the final hurdle. We are preparing to offer around £95 million, of course, for his services. So potentially we do know Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is looking to bring at least 5 new additions to the squad. As you all know, we have got our first signing on the board through Daniel James. Obviously our first signing under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era, but as you all know, like I said, Solskjaer's going to want to build on that, and he's going to want to bring another 4 or 5 more players in. Of course, spending spree £200 million. Like I said, that should be enough to get us around 5 players on the board, depending on how we are with our recruitment this summer, because there's a lot of players on our agenda that are available, of course, for a reasonable figure. Like I said to you, it's not always about spending big on players. It's not always about it's not always about getting them Galactico players, because it doesn't always guarantee you success, and it doesn't always, of course, get you in that commanding position. And obviously, we have spent big on players, especially in recent years. Lukaku 75 million, Paul Pogba, of course, 89 million pounds, and all that, our most expensive signing. I think probably 3 or 4 players are expected to leave Manchester United this summer. But like I said, you can see the deficiencies in the squad. Like I said, if De Gea leaves, we're going to need to buy a goalkeeper to replace him. We need a right back. We need 2 central defenders, because we have got issues defensively, and that was proven last season, because we conceded 54 goals in the Premier League last season. I think we need 3 new additions in that midfield, of course, if Paul Pogba leaves. We also need a right winger, and I think we also need someone, up front that can, score us goals and that, because obviously last season we wasn't ruthless enough in front of goal. We didn't score enough goals last season, and wasn't creating enough in the attacking third of the pitch. So you can see the deficiencies in the squad. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's worked out his transfer strategy for this summer. He wants to recommend a number of young players to come in that can grow, develop, and emulate into superstars, and he also wants to recruit British talent to Manchester United this summer. So there's quite a few British players on our current agenda. So like I said, analysing our recruitment policy, it's very, very poor, because we didn't spend out in January. Obviously, we didn't get anyone. We didn't get as number one targets last summer, because reflecting back last summer, the board weren't backing, the signs that Jose Mourinho wanted to recommend to come in. So like I said, we've been playing catch up for the last 5 or 6 years, and let's be honest, we've been mismanaged in the last 5 or 6 years, since Alex Ferguson, of course, retired. But a hell of a lot of money has been invested into the club. Obviously, we've seen players come in, of course, and we've seen players go, but there is cultural problems at the moment at Manchester United and all that. And obviously, with in regards to the director of football, as he updated you yesterday, there's been a bit of bad news on that. We are now not expected to appoint a sporting director, so this does now mean that Ed Woodward will be overseeing our transfer business, of course, this summer. But like I said, it was very essential that we had to get a director of footballing, because that's the structural change that we do need at the club. But now it's looking like we're not going to get. There's going to be no change of our structure. All I said, we need to get a director of footballing, because obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needs back in this summer. There were so many candidate names, linked with the director as well. There were talks of Ferdinand, there were talks of Evra coming in, there were talks of Paul Mitchell, and there were talks of Darren Fletcher. So there were so many candidate names mentioned. But according to recent reports, we are not expected to appoint a sporting director in. So that's very, very disappointing. But Solskjaer thinks we can attract players to the highest level, even though we're not in a Champions League football for next season. He was saying this towards the back end of last season. But maybe players still want to come to Manchester United, and I know we are a toxic club at the moment, but we are still one of the biggest clubs in the world. We've got a fantastic fan base. We're the most successful team in England historically, and all that. So players, still may want to come to Manchester United and all that, and. Yeah, so we are still one of the biggest clubs in the world, but I do believe in the next couple of seasons, our aspirations is definitely going to be that top 4. I think going on into next season, we're not going to be challenging for the league. We're not going to be winning the league and all that. I think our expectations probably going on into next season will probably be to get that top 4. I think that's an expectation. We've got to meet and all that, and I think also maybe to win the Carabao Cup, maybe win the Europa League. So maybe that may be another expectation. But like I said, we're a number of years off from mounting any kind of title challenge up, because at the moment City strides ahead of us, Liverpool of course strides ahead of us, so it's very imperative that we catch all the likes of City and Liverpool. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is working on obviously trying to keep his imperative players at the football club. Obviously one of his imperative players is Paul Pogba. I think also David De Gea is very imperative to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and so he's also working on this, and he wants to bring players who he thinks are going to elevate Manchester United forward, who he thinks are going to fit the culture of the club, who he thinks of course are going to fit the history of the club and all that. So yeah, I said we need to get at least 5 new additions in. I think another problem with Manchester United, we have let far too many players contracts run down, and obviously that's been another issue. So like I said, in regards to Paul Pogba and Lukaku, based on the huge transfer fees we've put on them, there's a slight possibility chance that they could remain at the football club. Like I said, £200 million, obviously it's obviously going to mount up to a lot more than that if we're cashing for Pogba, if we're cashing for Lukaku. But like I said, if we cash in for him, it'll help us with our rebuilding process, and of course will help us with our transition. So we'll give you some bit additional information about Romelu Lukaku. So we do know that Lukaku's been heavily linked to move to Inter Milan, and like I said, I think we need to cash in for Romelu Lukaku, if I'm going to be quite honest with you, because he is one of the problematic players at Manchester United, is Lukaku, and obviously he's initially lost his place in the team. Obviously Lukaku enjoyed a difficult second season with the club. Obviously we know mainly Rashford had been first choice ahead of him, and obviously Lukaku wants to go to a team that can assure him first team football. Manchester United can no longer assure him first team football, but I think Lukaku definitely wants to make the move to Inter Milan. He has described Lukaku has described Antonio Conte as the best manager in the world and all that. So that just shows that he wants to go and play under Conte. I think Conte, wanted Lukaku, was it back in 2017 when he was a Chelsea manager. Obviously, Conte won the Premier League in his first season with Chelsea. But obviously, Manchester United got him, of course. But I think he was supposed to be in 2017, going to Chelsea. But obviously, he ended up coming to Manchester United. So he definitely wants to make the move to to Inter Milan, does Romelu Lukaku. Like I said, you know, we are demanding that we want around £80 million for him. Like I said, this could be the stumbling block of Lukaku making his move to Inter Milan, because obviously Inter Milan are reluctant to pay £80 million. I think Inter Milan initially rate him at around £50 million. So basically, you know, we're looking to recoup the majority of the money that we did pay for him a couple of years ago from Everton. Obviously, you know, we got him for £75 million. There were £15 million in add-ons, which had risen a deal to £90 million. He's got 3 years left on his contract, and he's on about £250,000 a week. He's Romelu Lukaku. I think also Inter Milan, you know, need to raise around £40 million before the 30th of June, you know, to meet financial fair play regulations. So this also could be another stumbling block of Lukaku making his move to Inter Milan. But like I said, you know, Lukaku, you know, did admit about his dream of playing in Serie A and all that. So obviously he does want to make the move to Inter Milan. But like I currently said, yes, so he's lost his place in the team. He's been at Manchester United, you know, a couple of years. As Lukaku, I think he scored 42 goals in 96 games for us. He did well in his first season when the club did Lukaku, but obviously, you know, didn't replicate this in his current second season and all that. But like I said, I think Inter Milan are going to have to orchestrate something out to try and get a deal more of the line for him. You know, recent reports have said that, you know, Inter Milan have reportedly, you know, offered a player plus cash deal for Romelu Lukaku, but reportedly Manchester United have turned this down. So they did offer us Ivan Perisic plus cash for Romelu Lukaku, but we know that Ivan Perisic is no longer a Manchester United target. You know, he was a long-term target under Jose Mourinho, but he's no longer now a Manchester United target. He's Ivan Perisic. Obviously, the main factor reason why we didn't get him under Jose Mourinho, because obviously, you know, Inter Milan wanted £48 million. You know, we were reluctant to pay that £48 million for Ivan Perisic, so this is why we didn't currently get him. But he's no longer now Manchester United target, and obviously it wouldn't fit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer strategy anywhere, because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is not intending on bringing any short-term players to the club, and Ivan Perisic is now 31 years of age. I think also Inter Milan have tried off. I think there's been talks of Icardi as part of the deal with Lukaku, but I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is keen on bringing him in. But he did initially say a couple of weeks ago that everything had been agreed. It said Inter Milan had agreed the personal terms with Lukaku. It also said Inter Milan agreed a 5-year deal with Lukaku worth £7.5 million a year, and it also said that Inter Milan are willing to meet his wage demands, and it also said Lukaku was willing to take a pay cut to make his move to Inter Milan. But came out a couple of weeks ago saying that Lukaku was in Italy. You know, he was in he held negotiations with Inter Milan's representatives over getting a deal finalised. So he did say initially everything had been agreed, but the initial fee, of course. But like I said, we've got to get rid of Romelu Lukaku. He's one of the problematic players. Like I said, I've got strong reservations about him. You know, there's such concerns me. He's a big game battler. He's not really good in the air. He hasn't really got that endless potential. You know, Lukaku can perform a bit better when he's getting that support up front. You know, he can look a bit more effective. But like I said, I've got strong reservations about him. And he's surplus to requirements, as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's told him, because obviously Rashford's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice. And obviously, you know, the other week, you know, Manchester United told Lukaku that he can leave the football club. But yeah, his ratio's still very good in the Premier League. You know, he's Lukaku's. You know, he's scored a lot of goals in the Premier League. You know, his pedigree's very, very good in the Premier League. But I think we definitely need to get rid of him, because he is one of the problematic players at Manchester United and all that. And obviously, Antonio Conte did get appointed a couple of weeks ago as Inter Milan's new manager, and he's identified Romelu Lukaku as his number one target. So he could still possibly, you know, make the move to Inter Milan, of course. So obviously, if he goes anywhere, we're going to need a replacement for Romelu Lukaku. We need someone who can score then goals for us, because like I said, the likes of Rashford and Martial at the moment, you know, are not reliable enough, you know, to get us them goals that we do need. Obviously, you know, they haven't got to that level yet, you know, where they do currently want to be, you know, Rashford and Martial, and it's going to take them both a couple of years, you know, to emulate, of course, to that level. But yeah, you know, they are still both very, very young. You know, Martial's 23, you know, Rashford, of course, he's 21 years of age. Give you some additional information about Bruno Fernandes from Sporting Lisbon. So I think it's looking very imminent. He's going to be our second signing this summer. And as you all know, I like Bruno Fernandes a lot. I think it did say the other day, you know, we've reached an agreement with Sporting Lisbon. It did say, you know, Bruno Fernandes is very close to signing for Manchester United, and it did say, you know, Bruno Fernandes, you know, would talk to Sporting Lisbon about leaving if you know, if a big team came calling in, if someone made an offer, you know, that he cannot currently refuse them and all that. But Bruno Fernandes is aware of the speculation, and he has been one of our priority targets. He's been on Manchester United's agenda, you know, for quite some time, because we do know he'll dramatically improve us in that midfield. You know, with Bruno Fernandes, he's primarily an attacking midfielder. You know, only 24 years of age, and he has still got a lot of years ahead of him, of course. So I really, really like Bruno Fernandes, and of course, if Paul Pogba was to leave the football club, you know, Bruno Fernandes would be the current replacement for him. Reports came out yesterday saying that we have made an improved offer for Bruno Fernandes. I think we are set to offer around £70 million for his services, and I think this is initially, what Sporting Lisbon are demanding of course, for him. But I do believe Manchester United are in the ascendancy of getting a deal over the line for him. He did initially say that we had scheduled a meeting with Sporting Lisbon, to get the deal finalised for Bruno Fernandes. But a lot of reports came out last week from the Portuguese press, saying that Tottenham had entered the race. It also said Liverpool had expressed their interest. I think it's all saying now that Inter Milan have been interested in Bruno Fernandes, because Bruno Fernandes, recently did say that, he still watches the Italian Championship and all that, and he did say, he had a great time in Italy, because obviously when he was younger, he spent the majority of his career in Italy, did Bruno Fernandes, with the likes of Sampdoria and Udinese and all that. So he did say Inter Milan have expressed their interest, because I think he watches Inter Milan and all that, there's Bruno Fernandes, as he was currently saying. But I think Tottenham, have shown their interest, because obviously Christian Eriksen's linked with Real Madrid, and obviously if Christian Eriksen goes, Tottenham are going to want a replacement for him. There has been quite a few players on Tottenham's agenda, as you all know. I think their main priority target is Giovanni Lo Celso from Real Betis. Obviously recent reports said that Tottenham have had a bid turned down for Giovanni Lo Celso, I think of around £53 million, plus add-ons included. So basically Tottenham are seeing Bruno Fernandes as an alternative, to Giovanni Lo Celso. But I do believe, we are in the ascendancy of getting a deal over the line for him. Initially it has been mainly Manchester United and Manchester City that have been battling out for his services, but reports came out last week now saying City withdrawn their interest. They're no longer they've withdrawn their interest. They have pulled out of the race for Bruno Fernandes, but we're obviously willing to offer more than City, because City were only willing to offer around £40 million for his services, and he did say they were willing to offer a couple of their players as part of the deal. It was looking at one point, it was looking very, very likely, he was going to join Manchester City, was Bruno Fernandes. But he gave us an update about his future, a couple of weeks ago, saying he's still unsure about his future. He's had a good couple of seasons with Sporting Lisbon and all that, and he doesn't know if he's currently, going to be leaving Sporting Lisbon. But he did come out, was it last week or is it sometime this week, saying that Ed Woodward, was very hesitant of our transfer move for Bruno Fernandes, because I think Ed Woodward has got reservations, about spending big on players who he doesn't think are going to step up to the plate. But I think Bruno Fernandes is going to definitely step up to the plate. He's had a good couple of seasons with Sporting Lisbon. I think he scored 31 goals last season, and I do believe he can come and replicate this at Manchester United. He hasn't really played to the highest level as yet as Bruno Fernandes, but I do believe he's got all the attributes, to come and succeed in the Premier League without a shadow of a doubt. And I do believe he will succeed in the Premier League, and I do believe he'll exceed expectation levels in the Premier League. And if he comes to Manchester United, he's going to definitely take his footballing career to the next level. He's under contract with Sporting Lisbon until 2023. I think his initial release clause is around 85 or 86 million pounds, but he is primarily attacking midfield, and obviously that midfield area is one of the pivotal areas where Manchester United need to strengthen up, because we need someone that can score goals from that midfield, and I do believe Bruno Fernandes is the right solution. So he should be my second signing. I think Aaron Wan-Bissaka could be our third signing, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. Obviously Aaron Wan-Bissaka is one of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's prime targets. Obviously recent reports have said we are preparing to put a bid in of around £50 million for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Obviously, like I said, I'm still a bit sceptical of Aaron Wan-Bissaka coming to Manchester United. Like I said yesterday, I still don't think there's enough credibility in it at the moment, about what he's saying about Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Allegedly, he's told Crystal Palace that he wants to join Manchester United and all that. But I do believe that Aaron Wan-Bissaka is our top priority. So we are preparing to put a bid in for him of around £50 million. Initially, Crystal Palace are reluctant to sell him, because Crystal Palace know how much of a central player he is to them. But I think initially Crystal Palace are demanding, they want at least £60 million for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. So we are now preparing to put a bid in of £50 million. We've just recently had a £40 million bid turned down for Aaron Wan-Bissaka, but he is predominantly a right back. Obviously, we definitely need a right back, and obviously, we need a replacement for Antonio Valencia, because we know Valencia is leaving the club. Obviously, Valencia's been a long servant at Manchester United. He's been here 10 years. Of course, I don't know where his next destination is going to be. I'm not sure, but I think there's been talks about him going to the MLS. I think maybe will he go to Ecuador? Will he retire? I do not know. We need an upgrade to Ash Young, because Ash Young's been here about 7 and 8 years now. Manchester United being another long-serving player here. He's one of the problematic players now at the club, and he's 33 years of age. He's nearly 34. He's Ash Young, so he has potentially past his sell-by date. It was a mistake for Manchester United, giving him that new 1-year extension, of course. So yeah, he's no longer got the abilities to fulfil that right back position. So we need an upgrade to Ash Young, and we need a cover up for Diego Dalot. And I do believe Aaron Wan-Bissaka would be the right solution. Obviously, Aaron Wan-Bissaka is only 21 years of age, very, very young. I think also Tottenham have expressed their interest in Aaron Wan-Bissaka. But like I said, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, he made his Crystal Palace. He made his senior debut for Crystal Palace in February of last year. So he's been in their senior squad, about 15 or 16 months. I think he's made about 42 senior appearances for Crystal Palace. So obviously, last season established himself as a first team regular and all that. And obviously, he's got 3 years left on his contract with Crystal Palace. I think he came out weeks ago, saying that we were preparing to put a bid in of around £25 million for him. But obviously, this figure's going to be nowhere near enough, to convince Crystal Palace, of course, to offload him. So he has been on Manchester United's agenda, for quite some time. And I do believe he's got the ability to elevate Manchester United at least in the next 2 to 3 years, of course. And obviously, Wan-Bissaka, I think he's happy to stay with Crystal Palace at least for another season, as he did say a while back and all that. But if we offer 60 or 70 million pounds to him, this probably would convince Crystal Palace to offload him. Obviously, he has spent the entirety of his career so far with Crystal Palace. Obviously, graduated from their youth system. I think he joined Crystal Palace's youth system at the age of 11 and all that. I think when he was actually younger, he was an out-and-out winner. But obviously, as he was developing and that, he got rotated as a right back. So he is regarded now as one of the best right backs in the Premier League. Is Wan-Bissaka. So obviously, he's our top priority. So hopefully, we can get a deal over the line for him. But I think if we don't get a deal over the line for Wan-Bissaka, we are looking at Norwich's Max Havens. Obviously, we're seeing him as an alternative, to Wan-Bissaka. And Max Havens, he's only, I think he's 19 years of age. Obviously, won the championship with Norwich last season. Won the championship with Norwich last season. Like I said, 19 years of age. I think last season was his first season in the senior squad with Norwich. I think he joined their youth. I think he joined their youth academy in 2016 and all that. He's primarily right back. Can also play as a left back, but I think he's primarily right back. Is Max Havens. I think he signed a new contract with Norwich. Was it last October? So he's been spoken about. Obviously, Thomas Meunier has been on our agenda as well. And looking at it from a financial point of view, he's going to cost us a lot less than Wan-Bissaka. Thomas Meunier, so he's a much cheaper solution than Wan-Bissaka, and he's on Manchester United's agenda. Obviously, it came out the other week, saying that Thomas Meunier, from his own preference, he wants to join Manchester United. He did say Manchester United and Arsenal have been in for Thomas Meunier, and I like Thomas Meunier a lot. Experienced fullback, 27 years of age, and he has still got quite a bit of a development in him as Thomas Meunier, but obviously he's now served his 2 requirements at PSG, and this is the main factor reason why he's set to leave PSG this summer. Predominantly right back, like I said, can play in other positions. He's got goals in him, he's got assists in him, and he has been at PSG 3 years. Of course, I think he's made just over a century appearances as Thomas Meunier, and I think PSG got him for around £5 million from Club Brugge back in 2016. But Thomas Meunier has only got a year left on his deal with PSG, but it got revealed that he has been a Manchester United fan, since he was a youngster as Thomas Meunier. So reportedly did say he wants to make the move to Manchester United, but like I said, he's going to substantially cost us a lot less than Wan-Bissaka. And I think it did actually say PSG want from 22 to 25 million pounds for him. So that is, of course, a reasonable figure. So there has been quite a few right backs on our agenda because, like I said, we've got to bring the right players in this summer because we need to see vast improvements going on into this season. From what we saw last season, of course, because last season we finished 6th. Didn't even win out, of course, last season. So it was very, very disappointing last season. And like I said, it's going to take us a number of years, to get us back, where I want to be. Of course, obviously, we haven't won the Premier League since 2013. Obviously, that came in Alex Ferguson's last season. Obviously, the last trophy we won was the Europa League. Was it back in 2017? Of course, so there's a lot of catching up to do, for Manchester United. But like I said, I'd love Wan-Bissaka to come in. I love Thomas Meunier, of course, to come in because he's going to be a cheaper solution. Obviously, he's about 6 years older than Wan-Bissaka, but I do believe Wan-Bissaka is still our top priority. Obviously, as I've been giving you an update as well on a regular basis about Matthijs de Ligt for Max. Obviously, Matthijs de Ligt's been one of our main priority targets, but I think we are set to now miss out on Matthijs de Ligt, and I think the main factor reason why we're set to miss out on Matthijs de Ligt because obviously, we're not in a Champions League football for next season, and I think maybe, Matthijs de Ligt, wants to join a club that can offer him Champions League football. I think he also wants to go to a team that can assure him first team football, and definitely Manchester United, would be able to assure him first team football, and he would help us with our own rebuilding project and all that would Matthijs de Ligt. like I said, he would be the right solution for Manchester United. You know, he's a central defender. He's only 19 years of age. And like I said, I think we need two central defenders, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. But yeah, I think we are set to miss out on Matty Stillett, even though it did say we offered him a contract worth up to 350 grand a week. Obviously, this equates to almost 17 million pounds a year. And obviously, if this was to process, which I don't think it's gonna, it'd make him the highest paid player at Manchester United, or one of the highest paid players at the club, and also make him the highest paid teenager in world football. But I do believe now his likely destinations are Barcelona and PSG. I think recent reports have suggested out PSG are in the ascendancy of getting a deal over the line for Matty Stillett. Reports came out yesterday, I was reading up, saying that PSG have reportedly offered around £70 million plus add-ons to Hijack, and they've reportedly offered Matty Stillett a 5-year contract worth up to £340,000 a week. And it also says Matty Stillett's agent Raiola has been in negotiations with PSG's sporting director over getting a deal finalised. And I do believe that talks, will continue to persist of getting a deal over the line. So could be looking likely now he's going to be playing his trade in France next season, of course, Matty Stillett. But Matty Stillett, I don't think has yet fully made a decision on his future and all that. I still think he's unsure about his future. I think he's set to make a decision on his future in the next week or two, or something like that. But so many teams have inquired about his services because it's looking very imminent. He's going to be leaving Ajax and all that, and he has been widely spoken about throughout the course of this window. Obviously, well, we know at least in the last couple of months that Barcelona have been in the ascendancy of getting him, even though recent reports, well, should I say, was it a week or two ago now, reports came out saying that talks had stalled, between Matty Stillett and Barcelona, because they couldn't come to an agreement on the terms and all that. And obviously, Barcelona were not willing to meet, meet what, Ligt was demanding, what his agent, Raiola, of course, was demanding. But Barcelona, at least in the last couple of months, have been in the current ascendancy. Obviously, Barcelona have already got a deal over the line for his current teammate, Frankie de Jong, who Barcelona, of course, paid £65 million. Also, maybe Matty Stillett is keen on reuniting, with his current teammate and all that. Liverpool have inquired about his services. Like I said, the main factor reason why Liverpool have showed their interest, because Liverpool, of course, want to, put him alongside Virgil van Dijk in their back line, because obviously, they'd be a fantastic centre-back partnership. They've got a good relationship. They know each other really, really well. They're both playing the Netherlands national team, and of course, they're both Dutch. So Liverpool have expressed their interest. I was reading reports the other day, and he did say Matty Stillett's agent Raiola, prefers his client, to make the move to Liverpool, because maybe he thinks Liverpool would be the right solution for his client, does Raiola. Like I said, Man City have been in there. They're looking for a replacement for company. Also to Juventus have also been there. Previously Bayern Munich have been in for him, but they've now opted out of the race. So I would say Barcelona and PSG are in the ascendancy of getting Matty Stillett. Obviously, as well as been updating you on a regular basis about Harry Maguire from Leicester. He is on Manchester United's agenda still. It is Manchester United and Manchester City that are in there for Harry Maguire. It is Manchester United and Manchester City that are in there for Harry Maguire and all that. But it remains uncertain whether Manchester United or Manchester City are willing to pay that extortionate amount, that Leicester are demanding for him, because Leicester don't want to lose Harry Maguire, because Leicester know how much of an essential player he is to them. So recent reports said Leicester want around 80 or £90 million for his services. And don't get me wrong, Manchester United and Manchester City have got the financial power to meet that valuation, but like I'm saying, I just don't think he's worth 80 or £90 million. So this is why I think Manchester United, would be reluctant, to pay that kind of money for Harry Maguire. Maybe Manchester City, would be reluctant, to pay that kind of money for Harry Maguire. But I think Manchester City have identified Harry Maguire as their number one target to replace Vincent Kompany, of course. And Harry Maguire is not a Virgil van Dijk. He's not in his calibre or level. He's not a Rafael Varane from Real Madrid. He's not a Koulibaly from Napoli. He's not in their calibre or level again. But I still think he's a really, really good central defender, and he would improve our backline very, very well. And I think he would blend in alongside Victor Lindelof in our backline really, really well. And yes, I would like Harry Maguire to come in, but I just don't see he's paying up to 80 or £90 million for his services. He's proven in the Premier League. He's been at Leicester a couple of seasons, and I think he has exceeded expectations. He's exceeded expectations. I think he's made about 101 appearances in the Premier League. Obviously, he signed a new long-term contract last summer with Leicester, so he's under contract with them until 2023. Leicester paid around £17 million for him, of course, from Hull City. So I like Harry Maguire a lot. I really, really like him a lot, and I think he's been relentlessly linked to a move to Manchester United. I don't think he's been one of our main priority targets and all that, but obviously, last summer Harry Maguire was linked to a move to Manchester United because that was one of the players that Jose Mourinho, of course, wanted. I think last summer Leicester wanted around 70 or 75 million, but Manchester United, of course, were reluctant to pay that and all that. And I think Harry Maguire at some point in his career is going to want to take his footballing career to the next level and all that. He's going to want to go to a team that can offer him Champions League football, go to a team that can win trophies and all that, go to a team that can compete, and obviously he's not going to experience this with Leicester, so at some point he'll want to take his footballing career to the next level, will Harry Maguire. But like I said, there has been a lot of talks about him currently going on, but yeah, look at it from a financial point of view, if Man United were willing to pay 80 or 90 million pounds to him off Manchester City, were willing to pay that, Leicester would make a huge profit on the player, because Leicester got him for 17 million pounds from Hull City a couple of seasons ago, and if this was to process it, it'd make him obviously the most expensive defender in world football, and obviously making the most expensive English player of all time. So yeah, he's on Manchester United's agenda. Obviously Toby Alderweireld, from Tottenham, I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's intending on bringing him in, bringing Alderweireld in, even though he has been on Manchester United's agenda, since last summer. Like I said, the process started under Jose Mourinho. That was one of the players that Jose Mourinho currently wanted, and that. And look at it from a financial point of view, he's obviously going to substantially cost us a lot less than Harry Maguire, Delay, Koulibaly, and all that. So he's going to substantially cost us a lot less, and he is a cheaper alternative, is Toby Alderweireld. But I think I've got reservations about him. Some people may have reservations about him coming to Manchester United. Looking at his age, he's 30 years of age now, he's aging up. Plus, he has lost that yard of pace. But the beneficial thing about him, probably if he was to come in, the beneficial thing about it would be he's proven in the Premier League. He's been at Tottenham a number of years and all that. As Toby Alderweireld, so he does know about the Premier League, and I still think he'd be a great upgrade in our defensive area. He's available for £25 million this summer. Obviously, he's refused to sign a new contract with Tottenham and all that. So Toby Alderweireld has been on Manchester United's agenda. But like I said, I think we need two central defenders, obviously. And I said, we haven't had a world-class central defender, since we had the likes of Vidic, since we had the likes of course, of Ferdinand. And, like I said, Smalling and Jones are not good enough for Manchester United. Like I said, they're too inconsistent now. They've been two long-serving players at the club. Smalling's been here 9 years, Jones has been here 8 years. And, they're too inconsistent now, plus they're aging up and all that. And, like I said, it was a bad mistake for Manchester United, giving them two new long-term contracts. And, I do believe they should go, but obviously we know they're not going to go this summer. They are still going to be at Manchester United next season. Not good enough now, to represent Manchester United. Obviously we've got the likes of Eric Bailly, but like I said, his Manchester United career has been badly affected, with his fallout under managers, with his injuries he has sustained. So I think Eric Bailly, has become injury prone, and I don't think Manchester United are going to be selling him this summer. I think we would be open to currently selling Eric Bailly if we could recoup the initial £30 million that we did pay for him from Villarreal back in 2016, because we'll be looking to recoup the initial £30 million that we did pay of course for Eric Bailly. Obviously, we got him £30 million from Villarreal. It was Jose Mourinho's first sign. Of course, Jose Mourinho got 11 players in, but obviously, Eric Bailly was the first one, and obviously under Jose Mourinho we spent just under £400 million on 11 players. But it's fair to Bailly, when he first came into the Premier League, he burst into the scenes and that, really, really well at Eric Bailly, and I think he has still got great potential, but he initially, doesn't get in the team and that now. Obviously, we know Rojo, it's looking very imminent, Rojo, should be leaving the club. I think also Darmian's going to be leaving, so an estimate, I guess we can get around 25 or £30 million, for Matteo Darmian and Marcus Rojo, because they've both endured difficult times at Manchester United. So like I said, I think we need two central defenders. I think another problem with Manchester United as well, we have let far too many players' contracts run down. Like I keep saying, that's been another issue. Obviously, with the De Gea situation, reading reports about De Gea yesterday, he did say we are willing to offer him a new contract. Obviously, it remains uncertain whether he's going to accept this new contract offer or not. Obviously, it came out quite a few weeks back, saying that David De Gea had turned the final contract offer down from Manchester United and all that, because reportedly it says David De Gea is demanding around £350,000 a week. Reportedly, Manchester United are not willing to meet his current wage demands. In his current deal at the moment, he's on £200,000 a week, so basically he's demanding like £150,000 pay rise, and obviously David De Gea wants to be one of the highest paid players at the club alongside Alexis Sanchez and all that. But I think if he does leave Manchester United, David De Gea, I think his likely destination of course is PSG, because PSG have been heavily linked to him. Obviously Buffon has left PSG, so obviously now PSG have set their interest up in David De Gea, of course, and I think it did say PSG were paying to put a bid in for him of around £60 million, but like I said, we need to cash in for De Gea this summer if he does go, rather than letting go on a free transfer next year, because that would be a calamity if we let David De Gea go on a free transfer next year. So like I said, at full value for a goalkeeper, David De Gea is worth £100 million for a goalkeeper at full value, because he's potentially the best goalkeeper goalkeeper in the world. But looking at it, we're not going to get £100 million because he's in the final year of his current contract, of course. But we've been in talks at least for the last 18 months now trying to get David De Gea, of course, a new contract. So obviously we've not yet come to an agreement to get him a new contract, but he's been a great servant here. He's been here 8 years. He has made over 300 odd appearances in all competitions. He's won the club's player of the year 4 times out of the last 6 years, and obviously, he's won the club's player of the year 4 times out of the last 6 years, and he's done really, really well in his 8-year period here. He has been here since the Alex Ferguson era and all that. He hasn't really done much wrong in his 8-year period, but he was making mistakes towards the back end of last season, but that was mainly to do with a contractual situation. And David De Gea still got quite a bit of development in him. He's 28 years of age and all that. I've admired his fantastic career at Manchester United, but Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows how imperative that David De Gea is. We do obviously know that Real Madrid have also been long admirers of him. They've been linked to him for a number of years. Real Madrid were on the brink of getting him back in 2015, but due to a fax machine, of course, the deal never materialised. And obviously, I think Juventus have also been in there for David De Gea. But like I said, if De Gea currently leaves, I think we are going to need to buy a goalkeeper to replace him. It came out a couple of weeks ago saying that's not in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans. He did say Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was willing to promote Sergio Romero as our number one goalkeeper. Like I said, I've got reservations about that because I don't think Romero is yet reliable enough to come our number one goalkeeper. Obviously, we've got Dean Henderson, but like I said, with Dean Henderson, he's too inexperienced at the moment. Dean Henderson needs to gain a bit more experience. Like I said, he has been on loan with Sheffield United. I think we need to orchestrate on loaning him out, Dean Henderson out for another season and all that. So yeah, I think we need to buy a goalkeeper to replace him. But as you all know, quite recently, there's been a lot of talks about Jan Oblonga from Atletico Madrid going on, and reportedly he wants to leave Atletico Madrid due to broken promises, and I think his preference is to join Manchester United, because I think he was a Manchester United fan as a child, was Jan Oblong. And obviously this also got mentioned about 4 or 5 weeks ago, saying that Manchester United were willing to trigger his buyout clause. I think his buyout clause is around £107 million. Obviously, Jan Oblong signed a contract extension back in April, so it was recently, he signed his contract extension. He's on the contract of Atletico Madrid till 2023. I think he also got a pay rise, if I'm right. I think he also got a pay rise on his buyout clause. He didn't get much of a pay rise, but he did, get a pay rise. But I think Jan Oblong would be a good replacement for De Gea. He's obviously never been in the Premier League, but he is regarded as one of the best goalkeepers in the world. It was only last season Liverpool's Alisson kept as many clean sheets as Jan Oblong, so that just proves how much of a good goalkeeper Jan Oblong is. He's 26 years of age, so obviously he's 2 years younger than De Gea. I wouldn't put him in De Gea's category or all that. I wouldn't put him on David De Gea's level, but I still think he's a really good goalkeeper, good shot stopper. Doesn't leak a lot of goals and all that, which is very, very good. And I've got reservations about him. When it comes to him saving with his feet, Jan Oblong. He's been at Atletico Madrid 5 seasons. He's made about 200 odd appearances for them and all that. I think he's won 3 major honours with Atletico Madrid, including the UEFA Super Cup and currently the Europa League. So reportedly we've seen him as a potential replacement for David De Gea. There has been talks of Andrea Onana from Atletico Madrid. There has been a lot of talks about him going on. Like I said, I don't really know much about him. I think he's rated from between 35 to 40 million pounds. Obviously, he's at Ajax. He's had 3 years worth of experience as Ajax's starting goalkeeper and all that. I think it came out about this a couple of weeks ago, saying that Man United allegedly had a 35 million pound bid turned down for Andrea Onana and all that. So reportedly, he's been also spoken about. Obviously, Jordan Pickford has been obviously mentioned. So like I said, if De Gea leaves, we're going to need a current replacement for him. But like I said, I think initially PSG were intending on getting him on a free transfer next year. Of course, getting him on a free transfer next year and all that. So that could obviously tempt PSG to get him. That could this could tempt PSG to offer him a bigger salary and all that. But I think Manchester United have made it clear we are reluctant to sell David De Gea of course this summer. But like I said, we can't lose him on a free transfer next year, because obviously that would be a calamity indeed. But PSG have spent big in the last couple of seasons. Neymar and Mbappe, obviously the 2 most expensive players in world football. And like I said, we initially got a release list of around 14 players. Obviously on that release list, Valencia's on that release list. Obviously, Ander Herrera, of course, is on that current release list and all that. But I think with Juan Mata, people have said Juan Mata needs to go now, because obviously he's 31 years of age, he's aging up and all that. Recent reports have said Manchester United have offered Juan Mata a new contract, because I think he's got just over 2 weeks left on his existing deal with the club, and it has been looking very imminent he's going to be leaving Manchester United. But reports came out the other day today, as I've been updating you regularly, saying that we are willing to offer Juan Mata a new contract. Obviously, I don't think it'd be a long-term contract, you know, reflecting on his age. I think we've offered, have we offered him a new 1-year extension, or is it a 2-year extension or something like that? But yeah, some people have said he needs to currently go, because initially he's a squad player now, doesn't even get in the squad, you know, Juan Mata. You know, he has been at Manchester United, you know, 5 years and all that. He's made 218 appearances for us. He scored 45 goals in all competitions. So he's been a great servant to the club. You know, he's been in the Premier League 8 years now, including his 2.5, 3 years he had with Chelsea when he was younger and all that. But we do know Barcelona have been in talks of getting him on a free transfer. I think also, you know, Newcastle have expressed their interest in Juan Mata. Obviously, you know, Rafa Benitez may be keen on reuniting with the player, because obviously Juan Mata's played under Rafa Benitez during his time with Chelsea and all that. So reportedly we've offered him a new contract, but whether he stays or goes or not, I'm not too sure. But some people have said, you know, Juan Mata, you know, needs to go. I believe Nemanja Matic needs to go, you know, to be quite honest. Again, too inconsistent, aging up and all that, too slow in that midfield. And I think we need a holding midfielder, because like I said, Matic isn't good enough. You know, we've got obviously Fellaini left back in January after serving 6 years there with the club, and obviously, you know, Scott McTominay is too inexperienced at the moment. So I do think, you know, we need a holding midfielder. But yeah, lots to sort out, of course, at Manchester United. Like I said about Joel Felix from Benfica, you know, it is Manchester United and Manchester City that are battling out for his services. Like I said, I think Benfica have made it clear they're only willing to sell if Man United and Manchester City are willing to trigger his buyout clause. And I like Joel Felix a lot. You know, he's only 19 years of age. Obviously, has still got a lot of years ahead of him. Obviously, last season was only his first season in the senior squad with Benfica, but he did really, really well. And I don't think he's yet made his senior debut for Portugal, but he's got goals in him, he's got assists in him and all that as Joel Felix. So I think he would exceed expectation levels, of course, in the Premier League, and he's been relentlessly linked to a move to Old Trafford. Obviously, I think Manchester United have been scouting, you know, Joel Felix since January. Obviously, he's primarily attacking midfielder, can also play as a winner, a second striker, and a striker. So very, very versatile indeed. I think Liverpool had a bid turned down for him in January. I think also Real Madrid have been in for Joao Felix, so he's another potential Manchester United target. But like I said earlier on in the video, I'd rather Manchester United. I'd rather Manchester United, you know, spend over £100 million on Joel Felix than I would on Antoine Greizeman. Of course, like I said, Joel Felix has got a lot more development in him than Antoine Greizeman. But yeah, so the main part of this video was to give you an update of the fixtures and all that for the new season, and obviously, you know, give you the latest news that about Greizeman, and obviously all the rest of the latest news. So reportedly now we are ready, you know, to hijack Barcelona's move for Greizeman. We are preparing to smash our transfer record by offering Atletico Madrid £95 million for Antoine Greizeman, reportedly. Whether this goes through or not, I do not know. You know, some people would like Greizeman to come to Manchester United. Like I said, we're on the verge of getting him a couple of years ago, but due to the transfer ban, you know, his move to Manchester United, you know, it never happened. His release clause does reduce at the beginning of July and all that. Obviously, reflecting back last summer, he was close to joining Barcelona, but obviously he signed a new long-term contract last summer with Atletico Madrid. But he's leaving Atletico Madrid, but I don't think Atletico Madrid, you know where he's currently, you know, going at the moment. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribing as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.